play with, particularly on that CT side, because let's be real, the economy management played a large part in it. They were saving half the time. There are a lot of rounds there in the end where the weaponry that they were taking in, yeah, they were doing a good job of managing the economy, but they weren't doing a good job of winning the rounds. And it's one thing to have money to buy into the next round, but ultimately your goal is to win rounds, and they weren't doing that. So it was just a case of Downfall making their opposition respect them. They were making Ground Zero respect them to a degree. They were ready for some of those pushes that they were trying earlier on. And I think when it was highlighted earlier that maybe Bernie Wake was doing too much, I think he needed to also coordinate his teammates a little bit more in some of those rounds, because it didn't seem as though there was a whole lot happening. He was trying individually things, and when they were playing at their best, something else was happening on the other end of the map. There was, Maker pushing through into T lobby, getting up on that roof. There wasn't too much happening when the individual plays were coming through to complement that. I think on a map like Inferno, we're going to need to see more like that. But on a map like Nuke, it just didn't work out in their favor. So we do see them now go on to what will be the final map between these two teams. And one of these teams is a very difficult prospect once they get through this, but of course they need to get past their opposition and not make sure they're in the lower bracket here. Noobs is going to be called into action as Licky finds his way in, and Moot has just roped him off, sucker punched him, had no idea what was going on. They do trade, but look at the CT side health here. Mitch Lays is not in very good shape whatsoever, despite the fact it's a 3v3.
The shot spraying away from Maker. He's not going to be able to catch the player off in pit. And look at Downfall just tucked away, waiting. They've got the crossfire set up. And eventually Savage follows up with that final kill. 1-0 they go, winning out the pistol round. And again, just beating back the mentality. You gotta remember, every round that they lose on this map is just a reminder to Ground Zero that they should have closed out the previous. And they may drop down to the lower bracket. Now look, realistically, if we talk just entirely factual and statistical, both these teams are going the lower bracket. Like, you're playing versus Renegades next. That is one hell of a hard game. And considering the cracks that we've seen from both of these teams, I don't see either of them matching up to Renegades. I don't see most teams in this tournament matching up to Renegades, obviously, as they are just by far the best team in the region. When it comes through to the lower bracket, though, whoever loses this plays against Rooster. And that's not a good position to be in, because from what we've seen of Rooster, they are damn solid. And remember, the difference between, basically, if you win this game, you are guaranteed $4,500. If you lose this game, you could be going out with $2,500. So this game itself basically is worth $2,000 in essence. If we consider either of these teams would lose to Rooster, we just take that as granted, then this is a very high stakes game to at least guarantee that extra cash. And to get a chance to play versus Renegades, which is invaluable for any team in this region.
I think the thing is, too, once they do come up against a team, say, for example, like Rooster, they're very good at playing that blow-for-blow, real brawly style of CS. They're very good at that. That's exactly what they want to do, is they want to drag you into playing that style of match. So you need to be very structured against them. And I think if you're letting bad habits seep into your earlier round matches and you're forced to play that style against a team like Rooster, it's not going to work in your favor. So they want to win this. They want to go on into the bracket. They want that opportunity against Renegades. And as we said, Renegades are by far the trendsetters, the form team. Everyone wants to beat them, and they have a target on their back for that very reason. But it's not, it's a quick moving target. They're not, stationary in that instance. So they're just going to force into this round here. Round zero. Trying to do some damage with pistols. This is one of those maps, as we said, Inferno, close range combat. Almost anything is viable, depending on the position you use it. But you can see Downfall. They're not making any mistakes. They're not being drawn into any individual 1-versus-1 battles. They're very well grouped up. They're making sure that there's no opportunities for trades or any sort of collapsing going on. They're very, very fundamental in their approach here, as we do see small setup coming out from Ground Zero on this B-bomb side, but it's purely just to buy them time.
Running that clock all the way down. They're moving in towards the B side eventually. It's the full-on push. Licky Grabs the opening move as well. This is becoming quite dominant, actually, for the T side. They're shutting them down left, right, and center. And the force buy gets very little until Lays can answer up. This guy is so good. He's always good for a couple of kills in these kind of rounds. It's all down to Burn, are you okay? Very aggressive player from what we've seen, and he just gets swung by a Mac 10.
And Lays, you're right. That was just a dominant entry into that B-bomb site until Lays was able to sneak through that smoke, pick up a few. And I mean, he's been a real live wire for Ground Zero. I think it's safe to say that his contribution has led to them winning many rounds. The problem is, I feel as though the other contributors in Ground Zero dropped off heavily towards the end of that the last map. To be fair, even Lays did himself. So I think overall, the mentality did take a bit of a hit in losing a lot of those rounds. And I think that is in danger of having a flow-on effect here on Inferno, as we do see Moop. He's just going akimbo style, help prevent into this B-bomb site, and he's just darting around, trying to get that information, and they're just not messing around in this next set because they're going to go straight in. Oh, Licky takes some damage for his trouble, but yeah, they're letting the Mac 10s just go wild, trying to farm up that cash, and of course, this is going to be a quick round.
Yeah, rounds like this should be boring realistically, because if it's interesting, it just means that you've done something wrong with your weapons. Moop should just close this out with the Mac 10, get himself a little bit of money. Oh, he's in danger. It's shut down by Llamas. It's one kill at least. Another would be ideal for the CT side. Hard to do with the CZ up close. There you go. Savage goes down, and Noob is left to maybe even recover a little bit more. He's coming up through Banana. 10 seconds left on that bomb. He's going to just maybe try to even tap it to bait them out. No, it just goes for the duels instead. So he can maybe try bait them into a closer fight. I think if he just ran straight to site and tapped that bomb, they would have had to push him, because obviously if he had a kid, he could have defused it. And maybe from that point, he could have forced one of them to go down with him.
Perhaps. Perhaps. I mean, that being said, though, I think the attention by that stage for Ground Zero is on this first gun round. This is super important for them, because right now, Downfall, you know, if you're going on between this and the last map, they've just been absolutely tearing them to shreds. So heavy presence from Ground Zero, at least in the initial stages here. I think they were hoping to get a player down Banana to get an early pick on, and that player would have been best positioned here. But Lays and Noobster towards this A-bomb site. These are two capable players of holding down A. If you got a player that can hold down a site quite comfortably, like Lays and like Noobster can, then it gives you a lot of options on a map like Inferno, and that even extends towards the B-bomb site here. But the trades are good at the top of mid. Now, this has actually gone the way of Downfall. It's now back to a 2 versus 3, but as I say that, I've completely forgotten about the fact that Llamas was at the B-bomb site, and he's got all that info. He's got all that info that they have not entered the Banana just yet. So you can see they've got that player just floating in transition between the two bomb sites, and Llamas now has the info. He's surely going to be calling for that rotate, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
No, so he didn't actually spot them. He was shoulder peeking then to try and bait out a shot, and he made the right call in falling back, realizing that they could have at that point already gotten up towards the top Banana. The problem was that he didn't spot them, or that they didn't shoot when he shoulder peeked, and that left him then thinking that he was relatively safe for a couple more seconds than he actually was. The timing was so poor. And Ground Zero now in a 2 versus 2. This is where on Nuke they saved every time, bar one. And we'll see if they... Oh, there we go. 2D actually goes down straight away. Time is still fairly decent, but Savage comes in with a double, a huge hold. And Downfall get another round on the board. Ground Zero are struggling. Yeah, typically this half will start out well for the T side. In fact, the majority of T sides win their opening pistol round. I have the stats here somewhere. It's 54% of the time. It's the terrorist side that wins the pistol. That's a global statistic. And so that's pretty decent. Obviously, it means you'll be often getting off to that strong little start. But what's interesting about this map, actually, in recent memory, I think this is across the last, if I remember, it's like the last 100 maps played competitively, is that you remember back in the day, obviously, we would always talk about this being CT-sided. I mean, it's almost intrinsically, it's a CT-sided map. It's 50.3% of the rounds go to the CT side. That's quite low. I feel like the economy changes.
It's funny.
Hit it.
You know, I think you're right in saying that the economy changes have made it a little bit more balanced in that regard. But I think the other thing to remember is that CT sided. I think people have had the illusion that it's been CT sided. I mean, in principle, right? You've got a small site to hold and a site that has got 2 choke points in A site. So,
Yeah.
in theory, it's easy to hold as a CT side. And of course, the fact that a CT side with good economy makes those choke points very easy to handle. You can buy yourself a lot of time. But the fact that it's then been gone on to be viewed as one of the more balanced maps, that's caused some trouble here as Savage looks to cause trouble here at the B-bomb site. Llamas finds one, but they have spurred themselves into action here. Moot is the thorn in the side of that rotation. And he needs to be careful, though. He just doesn't want to be caught out. I think he's safe for the moment here as Noobs is more focused on getting through into the B-bomb site, hoping he can catch a break through the smoke here. I don't think they're going to expect him either. They haven't cleared construction, but they don't exactly have anyone watching it at the moment either.
The exits are clearly what they're going for on this one. You see, obviously, the time is so low. This player's going to quickly move towards CT, and Noob just wants to delay this player as long as he can. Maybe even get the kill on the back of it, but he's not going to... Oh! He's done the damage with the headshot. It's a little bit too far away now. I think 2D will make it, yeah. Comfortably enough. And obviously no one went towards Banana, so Lays, who was in wait there, can't find anyone. But they do still save over their AK. All in all, I think it's a pretty good round for Ground Zero. Like, they will be happy with what they've achieved. But being 5-0 down CT side is not what they want. They need to get back into this one fairly soon. This Downfall are really pulling away with this.
I think the thing is too, right? That perception of being CT sided plays in your head a little bit if you're on a CT side that is down 5-0.
Oh, definitely. 100%. I do feel like, though, yeah, once the economy changes came through and, like, you can't reset anymore, we've just ended up in this spot where, obviously, games are so much closer. I mean, look at every game. Like, 16 14s, overtimes, way more common now than they used to be. Like, games are so close this year versus 2 years ago. And I think that's kind of dumb. Like, I think they've really messed it up in that sense because it just means that, like, if you're a really good team, teams that before you would have stomped now get much closer score lines, but you probably still beat them. And it's just a waste of time, really, like a lot of the time. Because they can just, they're not punished.
Yeah, speaking of punished, Lays overextends himself there. Doesn't have anyone watching the boiler stairs, and now Burn. He's going to be asked a few questions here. Thought for a moment that Molotov was actually going to be at his feet. So perhaps a potential burn victim himself, but not to be the case. And Ground Zero, again, just forced into a save. There's no options here for the B players to even attempt a retake. 4 versus 2, you don't favour yourself, particularly when they had no presence over towards A whatsoever. So this is going to be Downfall looking for those frags. They're going to be pushing as Mizzy is here right now. This is the call. This is exactly what you want to do in Downfall's position. Oh.
Well, this is not going well, is it? Being shut down, Maker left in a 1v4. But obviously he's not going to win it, but it's all about surviving. Look at this HP. They don't expect him to be here, but he's giving it away now. They have time to get over there and hunt him down. 5 seconds left, and the nade comes in. He would have been better off just not shooting anybody. I mean, like, look at the money the T's have. Oh no, we've lost 1 weapon. Like, that's going to hurt us. No, it's going to hurt Ground Zero a million times more. Especially when you think about what map this is, Jim. Like, so many close range angles. You can win rounds with pistols, and having that 1 M4 might have actually prompted a full investment. Earn a 7k. He could get an op out if he wants to. His teammates could buy up. That M4 would bridge the gap of the FAMAS and the other M4s they'd have around it. Maker could drop a weapon. That would have been a huge save for them. Like, that would be he'd have an M4 and he'd drop an M4 to his teammates because he'd still have his armor. So now you have Maker and Lamas with an M4. You've got Lays with an M4. Burn dropping an op. You're chuffed. You've got 1 weak weapon and it's Inferno. That's fine. But now instead, you might actually have to take pistols on this one. It's a silly peak.
And they don't have a lot of options. And I think the fact too that that Molotov didn't quite reach its target automatically, if no one's moving on the back of a Molotov, even if it's poor, the perception is that no one throws a poor Molotov like that, right? So all he needed to do was just sit back and do nothing. I think he was just a little bit panicked in that moment. Wasn't really too sure what was going on. I know the Molotov burner can mask a few footsteps if it is positioned well enough. But now we've got Ground Zero back on pistols, and they're finding themselves on the back of a 6-0. So Downfall are very comfortable right now. They're very, very comfortable. The problem is they can't do what Ground Zero did in a similar position and take their foot off the gas whatsoever. They need to be the ones, again, just making sure that they maintain momentum, maintain control of the city economy as best they can. And I mean, they're sending Moop on a mission. He's been in that boiler room seemingly every round, and what he's doing once he gets that frag is he's able to make sure the rotation is very, very difficult. And again, only losing one in that round, their economy continues to build here, and this is quite scary because not only have they built rounds, their economy hasn't been thinned whatsoever. Sometimes you see that. Sometimes you see teams with a low economy. It's not like the rounds have been close enough to do that.
I really don't see a way that Ground Zero walk out of this half feeling happy with what they've done. Yeah, like they're getting destroyed, and I mean, there's no other way to say that. Matter of fact, Jim, I've checked, so those stats were, oh, hold on, the fight on top mid comes down very quick. I really thought this was going to be a much slower round because the banana control Downfall are looking for. They got smoked and mollied out, and it looked like they were going to take it slow, but Moop he just ran up mid. Why not? Just go for a fight. That's a weird little hint of aggression from them. And for Ground Zero, they've got a man advantage to play with, albeit very low HP on Llamas. So a rotate comes through to B that they're now running into a stack. Molly down, going to deal damage. What are Downfall doing? Is this just overconfidence? Like, just why? Just why, Jim? That's my only question.
I have no explanation whatsoever, and I think, you know, 2D, that's the round that Ground Zero needed. They needed to take no losses. Their economy was on a knife's edge. So the fact if they had to have, you know, purchased anything in this next round, they would have been feeling the effects come later on in the half. So I think from Ground Zero's perspective, they needed to take that round with as little damage done as possible. And yeah, you're right. I don't know what happened there at top mid. Moop just trying to get the info. And I think Ground Zero did a good job of setting themselves up quite nicely there. Obviously, they had the roof boost going there towards Diggity, and that was obviously what netted them that first frag against Moop. But you can see Moop, he's been just tasking himself with being the disruptor at the top mid, and Noobston misses that one uncharacteristically, but that flash is great for taking control of brackets. And this is a little bit better from Downfall. I think this is what they needed to do last round. Take control of banana, take control of brackets, use some utility to do so, and force the CTs back into the bomb site.
And so it was the semi-attempt in the previous round by Moop by himself with a single flash that really cost him. And I think for Ground Zero at the moment, you know, they've got to be a little bit paranoid. There's a smoke down towards B. Molly's as well in play. They've burned up their utility. Noob got caught in the open after being completely blinded. And now they're splitting through the spawn, catching Maker on the rotate. He's ready for this, though, and he gets the first one going his way, but no more thereafter. Llamas has to hold on. He has to do it all by himself. No support whatsoever. Moop is already low, but he has an op coming in through the spawn, and 2D is looking for him. Misses the shot. That gives an opportunity to Llamas to get this done. He finds Moop, who was low HP, but that's all. And the 2v2 retake is going to be quite difficult, because remember, that op now in play going to be able to just hold this angle and wait for them to push on through.
Ooh, that was a quick key shot, though. Does get a second bite of the cherry as Lays goes down. But Bernie, okay. He falls victim. Can't quite jump his way out of that. And that is another round for Downfall. And the city economy is a little bit healthier now, thanks to that loss bonus being pumped into their coffers. But I don't know. I don't know right now. Ground Zero are just being fundamentally pushed around the map. Now, Noobster was completely blind. He should have been taken out earlier. He was lucky to get that frag in the instance, but I don't know. I'm liking Downfall. They've grown into the series. They've been given confidence they probably didn't deserve in that nuke game, and this is what the flow-on effect has been.
Yeah, you can see the mistakes though that Ground Zero were making, the problems that they've caused for themselves, and I feel like their mentality has got to be in the toilet. Like, they threw away that previous map. They made silly, silly mistakes that they never should have made. And I think that must be playing some sort of a role in the current scoreline. Like, the spot they're in now, man disadvantage, traded back, albeit, but Lays is on 7 health, Lamb is on 50, Solo holding towards that. Well, he's got no head, so never mind his health. Without a head, it's not going to do too much. Smoke through for CT. As clean as can be. Burn manages a Molotov. At least the spray, look, he gets 0 damage on that cross as well, so not even the RNG is in their favor.
Yeah, they're really being just tightly controlled by Downfall as well. Burn does pick up 1 though, so there is a glimmer of hope in this round as the rest of the cavalry will arrive, albeit a little bit late. I think it's going to be on the back of Noobster taking his sweet time through Banana. He doesn't have that afforded to him. He's going to run into 2D, I dare say, as that duel will ensue, no doubt. But again, Noobster just taking his time, clearing out those angles. They're down to what would be about 17 seconds here. Burn finds another, but he's running out of bullets in the clip. He's only got 3. He's taken down anyway. Savage, key position, and they managed to make it work here, Downfall. As 2D just plays the patient game.
Oh, wait.
Apple.
I've seen this one. I've seen this movie,
You've seen this one
Jim.
before?
I know what happens. This is Ground Zero's win. 9-1 up, they lose this game. We saw it in the previous map. Maybe Downfall will start just pushing them like crazy and give it away. Now for
2D has had some very, very key rounds for them.
You know, I also went back and took a look just while we're on this tac pause. The stats I was looking at for the maps included the history of the maps. So since conception. So I went back and had a look then at how it's changed. I remember, like, that includes all of the games played now. Because we're entirely online, the last couple months have been much more saturated with gameplay than what I'd say probably last year was. And when you look at how the last 12 months have played out, most maps are actually, a lot of maps are T-sided. Dust 2 comes out T-sided. Inferno comes out T-sided. 51.1% of rounds go to the terrorist side over the last 12 months of competitive play. Mirage, 51.7% CT. Nuke, 54% CT. Overpass, 52. But it's very, like, they're so tight. You remember they used to be obviously much more CT sided on a lot of maps. Like, you'd be talking 55 plus easily. That's not the case anymore. Like, even if I go back to 2018 and just take a look, like,
a few factors there as well. Just remember the T's have been buffed with the SG, and of course the fact that the economy isn't so rough on them either. So cheaper weaponry. It's a good climate to be on the T side. I think, you know, they've felt the benefits of that. And I think right now, though, that being said, though, yeah, it's traditionally been T-sided, but it hasn't been this T-sided. Downfall have definitely done some real damage to the confidence of Ground Zero. And just even right now, Lays, there's nothing he can do with his off-angle positioning because that smoke has just pushed him right out. So right now, it feels as though Downfall have got their opposition's number.
It does indeed. And pistols, we talk about being strong on Inferno in so many of the choke point angles, as we always say, but the thing is, it just doesn't feel like anyone's going to be having the happy moments right now. The Deagle over towards Banana, not landing a damn thing as they just get shut down. Lambs through the smoke, he's killed, and a lick of damage is all that's been done. Eventually, Moop loses some, but up to that point, they'd lost, what, 7 health? That's a pretty convincing round for Downfall, and Ground Zero, they're still on Ground Zero. They've yet to ascend even slightly. They got 1 round, and it's just looked completely dead since then. The funny thing is, though, in fairness, like, Lays is 8 for 9, and it feels like he's having a really bad game. And if that's a bad game for you, then fair play, because that's a good game for me.
Well, I mean, we saw the first map. It was Downfall that was struggling to stand up, suffering from vertigo, and now it's, funnily enough, you know, I guess Ground Zero's chances that have been nuked somewhat, and right now they're just left smoldering in what would be an inferno for Downfall. Is that again just that Molotov coming through, pushing Maker out of position. When you're on the receiving end of utility usage like that, so you really do feel as though you're being bullied out of this game. And it's hard to fight that sort of mentality here, as we do see Noobs to find some stiff resistance in the form of himself at top mid, but that all it's done is taken Moop out of the economy here. There's still a chance for downfall in this round, but it's a much better, well, it's just much better in the way that things have played out for them for ground zero. As you can see right now, they do have 3 on this bomb site. They've still got time to go back towards B if things don't work out here, but I think it's going to be on the back of Licky and what information he can get coming out of Carpet.
So much to be done for ground zero, but they don't seem to be able to do anything. The 1-for-1 trade's never going to be enough in that kind of situation. And Maker, well, he's killing chickens. If only that was how you won rounds. He's got to kill some opponents as well. Already got the double kill on the chickens, though, so maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's the sacrifice that he needed. The running no-scopes not hitting, and with that op in hand, he didn't want to risk it. He's bailing. 11-1.
Yeah, look, killing chickens, I mean, it's one way to be caught up in foul play.
He didn't even eat them afterwards as well. That's the thing, right? It's just a waste at that point.
I know I'm going for the cheap laughs.
That's the way to go, though. The way to play.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, ground zero. They've left themselves with a mountain to climb now. I mean, at this stage, you're going to find yourself forcing into all of these rounds. You really can't let your opposition have a lead like this. They're going to find themselves... I mean, you don't want to give up at 12th, do you? You need to force into this. You need to go for this.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You got to win every round from this point forward. Look, 11-4 is a trash half when it comes to Inferno. Oh, here's an interesting point, being as we need something interesting to talk about. Inferno, when it comes to the top 30 and top 50 teams, is the same, 51% T-sided. But when you go to the top 10, it's 50-50. It's technically 50.1% T-sided, but I'll excuse the 0.1.
That's an anomaly in there somewhere, surely.
That's across 107 maps for the top 10 teams. That's quite interesting that it kind of comes out to a 50-50 at the very top level.
And almost the perfect sample size, right?
Yeah. And then in the top 5, it's CT-sided.
Yeah, Burn. Again, he's left unsupported at top mid. I think that's the most important point to note here, is he's gone for the solo play at top mid. His flash timing didn't work out for him, but there's no one else there to make amends for it. Now, Lays, he's done a good job of doing some damage, but it's not going to be enough to hold the bomb site. As, again, there's not anything that can be done. Llamas and Maker, all they can do is try and save their weaponry. And at this point, you know your opposition are coming hunting for you. They've got the economy to do so.
It's just heartbreaking, Jim. It really is. Like, I feel like we're just watching the same round on repeat. Downfall just crushing ground zero.
It's Groundhog Day.
It is. And how the mighty have fallen, Jim. Jeez, like from map 1, they looked so good. I was singing their praises all day long. Half 1 of map 2, same thing. I had faith in them. Even when they lost 5 consecutive rounds and allowed Downfall back into their T side, I thought, you know what, doesn't matter. You know, they're going to come through. And they're going to deliver a great performance on Nuke when it came to the CT side. And then they didn't. They got absolutely torn apart. And it's so odd to see a team. They don't look like the same team, really. Like, it feels like these are different Steam accounts with the same name. Like, we've hopped in a matchmaking and the overlay is bugged. Because to see ground zero just change, like, go back to the first map, Jim. How many times did we see Downfall start spraying at someone and they were shooting them in the ankles and they just got flick headshot instead? And Lays found 3 opening kills every single time. Now they're not even giving Lays the rifle. Maker's got the M4. Lays has been left over on a FAMAS.
Look at this standoff. Noobster eventually gets that one. Would have only just seen the top of his cap. And they've gone for that top mid setup again, but the trade outs are good for the T side. In the meantime, too, they've slipped the net. Noob's got himself into pit, but Maker and delays combined to just make sure that this bomb site is rock solid for now. You can see the rotations come through, though, for Downfall. They're going to focus here on this B bomb site. Play the percentages. They know that if there's 2 at A, there's got to be 1 either in transition or at B.
They know what's going on with it. Oh, maybe they don't. Not ready for the op on the corner. They maybe thought he would be playing over at Coffins. Molly didn't land in front, so they've got to chuck it in behind. It's not giving them a chance to actually push through it already. I thought maybe one guy would creep into the smoke on time. And 2D's got one hell of a clutch. If he makes this happen, GZ just forfeit. I think that's the way to go. Luckily, Maker shuts it down, so they don't need to shut it down. And it will be 12-2. 10 rounds behind.
They needed that round, otherwise it puts a lot of pressure on Pistol. There's already a lot of pressure on Pistol, mind you, but unnecessary pressure at this point. So there is some good to come out of this round from Ground Zero, as we see Noobster there. Does eventually spot Mizzy out, but I mean, Downfall are doing the right things. They're actually working areas of the map. They're trying to go for that push-pull effect and keep players anchored in bomb sites, get information based on that, and hopefully trying to make someone just be caught in that stasis of rotation. The Snoopster flashed out of position here, but they're going for something a little bit more aggressive in this instance. Look at this banana push coming out. They've got control of it, Ground Zero. This is a little bit more active than we've seen them in previous rounds because they haven't had the economy or the utility to do so.
With that opening under their belt, they've got banana control. They've got it locked down, so they're able to rotate over a 4-man A hold. That aggression by Noob, maybe not necessarily necessary, but as they find the trades, Downfall are able to plant. Still a man disadvantage to work with. Nade over to force a player out of position, but he's just gonna... I think his steps might have been heard. They could know that Savage is over towards Grave, and they've spotted Moop. This is huge information if that is to play with. But it looks like they were completely unaware. No idea where Savage was. He's given the chance to take Llamas down, but lights him to 16 health. Moop has a difficult clutch on his hands, but they do have to defuse that bomb. It's not planted for him entirely. He has to move past that smoke to get to it. Realizes now they're not on it, and he takes down the low HP player. So there was no way to get to Maker in time. He's got this defuse as well, and that will be, at long last, another round for Ground Zero and a 12-3 scoreline. At least, as you said, Jim, not as much pressure on the pistol round, but geez, there sure is a lot of pressure on the pistol round. Even still, they need to win this and get off to a good start, because this has been shocking.
This is less than ideal situations here for Ground Zero. You can see the banana control, it actually reaped some rewards for them, but I thought Downfall had done enough in getting into this bomb site, but Llama's a smart play actually to just try and force that 1 versus 1 angle, getting himself into the bomb site, taking that fight where he knew that he actually had cover from Pit. That was probably instrumental actually in Ground Zero getting themselves a much needed round on the end of what has been just one-way traffic for Downfall. They've been masters of that T side. So this is tremendous pressure on Ground Zero on T side to convert that pistol. But as you said, the stats, they are slightly in Ground Zero's favor.
Yeah, when it comes to international competition at this level, at least for these teams' rankings, it does tend to be a 1.7% more T-sided than CT. That is not very comforting when you're 12-3 down, but Savage is just tearing these guys apart. He's got another. He's taking down Noobster. It's into a 3 versus 3. This is getting a bit ridiculous. Down goes Burnout. Savage is not feeling bad about this pistol whatsoever. And Mizzy just smokes him off. Pushing through that would be hella risky. They smoke off CT. They flash over. And Mizzy's able to make it away with his life. Now they can just set up for a retake. Even allowing a bomb plant wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but they know that means it's a 1v1 fight. Ooh, way too aggressive by Mizzy.
That being said, though, I think the double was on offer. So, yeah, you're right. He did the right thing, falling through the smoke, but did he? In the end, the decision to push through was probably not the best, as he's now left to 2 versus 2 in the bomb site. The position post-plant is good, but there's still going to be a fight here because the time is not going to allow it. Savage by name and by nature. He finds the first pistol. Again in his side, he's been forced to again. That is a huge round from him. And he comes out away with the ace on what is going to be a huge victory for these guys, given the fact that Ground Zero started this series so strongly.
God, that's just disgusting, Jim. Honestly, look at this guy's headshots, one after another. I think that was all a headshot, Ace. No, this wasn't. That was a body shot. Ah, damn. Because other than that, Tap, clean as can be, runs up beside him and just whips him down. Gorgeous stuff. My God. At ground zero, if there's one way, like, if you're 12-3 down and then you get aced on the pistol round, come on, now naded. Look at that. Maker and Lamas are lucky to even be alive at this point. Honestly, how the mighty have fallen.
They have families.
Exactly. They're already dead. Leave them alone. Oh, here comes a molly over as well. That's a smoke first. We're not even going to see the molly come. Oh, we did. Excuse me.
Oh, no.
He's full blind.
Savage gets away with that.
This is just, this is stupidly good. He's got another one. All right, 7 kills in a row. See how many more he gets. And still, obviously, Lamas, who is very low HP, is left alive. You've got a sneaky little play by Leaky. He's hiding away in the apartments, and he's ready to make a move. And come on out. But Burnout. Burn, are you okay? Able to find the first, at least. That's a solid opening. Then shut down by a PP Bison. A weapon that I don't think I've seen in competitive play for at least a few years.
No. Used to nickname it the sewing machine, to be honest, because that's the sound it used to make. Now, here we go, Mac 10 Llamas, but the retake is good. And, well, this is not good for Ground Zero because they got the plant. They did buy into it. They are going to be able to get themselves some weaponry in this next round. But you can see full of confidence downfall. Again, you could see the things that Savage is going for and getting away with as well. Full blind, just spraying at the top of Banana there and finding one, but not being traded whatsoever. So this is not good for Ground Zero fans.
That pretty much sums up Ground Zero over the last map and a half. Just, this is not good. This is
it's a disaster.
I don't know. I don't know, Jim. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I feel like Ground Zero are just not the same team. I said it coming into the start of this, and geez, I mean it even more now. 2D's just opened that up by a peek around the smoke on Car. Bailed back and just holding down on beat. Moop's going to go aggressive here. You know he is, because why not? And this is funny how things... Oh, he actually falls back. This is funny how things have flip-flopped. You know, it feels like the Ground Zero mentality in second half Vertigo was just play aggressive, smash these guys, easy win. And now all of a sudden, they could be going out in last place. They're going to have to face off against Rooster if they lose 2 more rounds. And yeah, say what you will about the statistics. Ground Zero are not favored on any side on this map. And 2D, when he's hitting shots like that, what can you do?
The fact that he just went wide and peeked that. No AWPer does that. Not when they've got that angle.
Nope. It's just sheer confidence.
Nicky getting aggressive with that SMG. Lamas is expecting the peak coming out, but again, that Molotov's just making his movement very stunted towards this A bomb site. He finally has someone in tow, and that is Noobster to try and make this work. But all they're going to be able to do is find one in the pit. Noobster though, signs of life, but they are quickly knocked out of him. As we do see Ground Zero, they have had the wind knocked out of their sails, and in terms of in sailing terms, they're being keel hauled right now.
I have no idea what that means, but it sounds inappropriate.
They're being dragged. They're being dragged along the bottom of the boat.
Ah, I know the one. You know, when I actually have a violin just about a meter away from me. I feel like just grabbing it and whacking out a tune, but I can't play the violin is the problem. But if I could,
I was gonna say, how small is this violin? I've got an electronic drum.
That could help.
I cannot. Yeah, look, I cannot
play sad things on an electronic drum.
I can't play it for the life of me, but.
Yeah, well, I bought a violin to learn, and then I broke a string on it. Now I need to learn how to put another string on, and that's taken me a few months because I'm lazy. You know what that? Do you know what that means though? Violins is never the answer. Oh god damn it! Well, it looks like Ground Zero were taking you up on that one, anyways. They're coming through with the pacifist playthrough of Inferno. It seems to be working out for them in the way that you would expect. 15-3. This is
in
depressing.
civilization terms, this is a peaceful victory. It's a cultural victory for Ground Zero.
Spiritually, they are the winners.
They are being laid to waste here. Savage again. He's just having his way in Banana,
Jesus.
and he rounds it out. Ground Zero go down, and Downfall, surprising victory, and they progress in this bracket.
Wow. Well, that was one hell of a turnaround by Downfall. Jeez, I